that kind of still feed the passion that you have for the sport, being in broadcasting, getting that buzz?
Yes, probably it does, mate. I mean, do I want to do 21 races a year? No, I don't. I still think I've got a reasonable balance where I can dip in and out and still have the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion to do a good job.
It's all very uncertain, isn't it? The county championship season is due to start in about a month. You'd have to think that that's probably going to get postponed and pushed back, but health has to come first and foremost, doesn't it, to the spectators and the health of the country, really.
As you can imagine, the coronavirus outbreak continues to dominate the news. The sporting world has been hugely affected. Matches have been cancelled, teams are self-isolating, and deep cleans are taking place in stadiums everywhere. Southampton have announced the departure of Ross Wilson. In a statement on their website, they said Southampton Football Club can confirm today the departure of Director of Football Operations Ross Wilson, ahead of him taking up a role at Glasgow Rangers. Earlier we spoke to Graham Hiley, a former press officer for the Saints. This was his reaction. So the search for a new Director of Football starts today. The coming weeks and months will be very interesting. Back to you, Valia. I'm now joined in the studio by Solent's Head of Sports Programmes, Matt Bishop. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Slightly sad circumstances in some ways.
Yeah.
So you were in Glasgow yesterday.
Yeah.
How proud were you of the team?
Yeah, immensely proud of the coaches and the players and all the fans that made it up to Glasgow in what was a pretty crazy weekend in this world, and a fantastic achievement just to make the final. An amazing game, loads and loads of stuff on social media. So yeah, the boys did great, and you know, sport is sport, and someone unfortunately has to lose.
But what does it mean to Solent to have a team like Kestrel's based here?
Well, it's huge. The community impact for university to host a club like that is massive. But it's much bigger than just that one team. It's the whole club. We get 500 people in our new facility supporting the guys throughout the season. They've won the trophy for the league. They've won the cup double. So just to get to that BBL final and really showcase what they can do in front of the nation was amazing.
So it's been a cracking season for them anyway. So what's next?
There's no promotion and relegation with BBL. It's a franchise, so you buy into the league. And there's a lot of stipulations, a huge amount of financial and logistical impact on that. So it's something that we're not sort of talking about at the moment. Obviously, the club is in a situation like everyone else under coronavirus, that we're cancelling training, all of the matches are cancelled. We would be normally going into the end of the season games this weekend and then the playoffs, and obviously we'd be looking to try to retain our playoff crown. So we'll talk about it over the summer, but there are huge amounts of financial and logistical challenges that come with being in the BBL. So it's not as simple as just entering in and going forward, as we found from Christmas with one of the teams withdrawing from the BBL purely because of financial reasons.
So there are lots of positives to take. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So that's all for now and for this week. In the meantime, you can keep up to date with us on our various social media feeds. See you next week with more of the latest sporting headlines. Goodbye. In March 2020, Hertfordshire's Alice Hewson travelled to South Africa for her maiden Ladies European Tour event. The young English golfer was about to introduce herself to the tour in style by becoming just the third player in LET history to record a victory in her first appearance.
I still don't believe it's sunk in properly, honestly. Like 5 months later, it still doesn't really feel real. I didn't really have any expectations, and I didn't know what to expect from the other players either. And just went and played my own game, kind of stuck to what I do. I don't play the fancy shots, I don't come with all the bells and whistles, I just try to hit it straight and roll in a few putts every now and again.
Fewer than 1% of worldwide golfers have the ability to compete in the professional game. As an amateur, Alice had to make a number of life choices in order to pursue her dream of becoming a tour professional.
I think the biggest thing with that was going over to America for university. Unfortunately, there's not as big of a support in the UK for student athletes. It's a lot of student and athlete on the side. And given that I want to do, well, I'm doing golf for a living now, it was the correct decision to move to America, where it really is kind of 50-50. It then just kind of became about choosing where I wanted to go. Now that was more of a challenging decision for sure.
By the time Alice took her GCSEs, she knew what she wanted to do was to go to the US. Yeah. We'd had interest from 27, 28 universities. And it was like, how do we filter all this out? How do you even know where you go? And what we did is we drew up a list of 6 universities that we were going to go and visit. Clemson wasn't on that list. We didn't even know about Clemson as a university.